Ahmad Mazhar. An essayist-researcher-children's literature-translator-editor. Born, 27th of March 1963, Dhaka. Education, S.S.C. from Khilgaon Higher Secondary School in 1978. H.S.C. from Shahid Soharawardi College in 1980, graduation in Bengali literature from Dhaka College under the Dhaka University in 1983, post-graduation on the same subject from the Dhaka University in 1984. Though at the beginning of his career, he got some recognition penning children's stories and poems, but presently writes mainly social thoughts, research-oriented works, commentaries on culture and criticism. He is doing research on children's literature. Translation, transcription and reconstructive works are also there. Written, translated and edited books exceed 60. During the setting up of the educational and cultural institution the World Literary Center, he was working there for 17 long years. For a while he also practiced journalism. Besides this, he also edited a quarterly little magazine named Boier Jagat, which dealt with criticism of books. Presently he is residing in New York with his wife, actress Shireen Bokul, and undergraduate son, student Shudipta Priyadarshan. Literature of diaspora, immigrant or a different Bengali new? By the 20th century, when the Bengali literature turned modern, we already have a few highly acclaimed writers who are living abroad and cultivating the Bengali literature. But they were not called immigrant literators by anybody. This is because the Bengali lifestyle of immigrant Bengalis had not featured in their writings till then, so that they can be separately identified as migrant Bengali literature. The subject matter of their writings had not developed into one that gave more importance to life overseas. In this context we can name Achal Prasad Sen as well as Syed Walala. Anything overseas was not a subject matter for either of them on their take of life. So though they were immigrants, one cannot say that they created diaspora literature. Staying abroad had definitely influenced them, but their thoughts were still based on the lifestyle of the people of Bangladesh. The word diaspora is derived from the Greek language. The lexicon meaning of this word is the spreading of seeds. Likewise, the word diaspora is used to signify the unwillingly spreading out of a community of people from its place of origin to a different land. At one point of time, the Jews had to move out of Israel in great numbers to different parts of the world. The word diaspora was initially used to refer to the evicted Jews. Now those who have to move out of their place of origin and go to live in a different land are referred to as diaspora people. So in a broader sense, the diaspora people are signified by those who are without a country. The Bible written in Hebrew is called the first diaspora literature, as it was written by the Jews who were evicted from their own country. Hence all the literary works of people expelled to a different country is marked as diaspora literature. But the limited definition of the word later expanded. Now, not only those who were compelled to leave their country, but also those who on their own free will leave their homeland in pursuit of better opportunities, or for any other reason to live permanently in a foreign land, are also considered to be a part of diaspora. All over the world there are a lot of people who move out of the place of their origin for a number of reasons and live there permanently. They are increasing in number, thereby they try to develop their known cultural ambience in the foreign land, and expand the lifestyle of their native soil. From the educational point of view also, this type of literature based on the way of life, is also considered as diaspora literature. In that sense all those living out of Bangladesh in Europe or America permanently for a long time as a community, they too are a part of Bengal diaspora. Those who have moved out of their place of origin to a foreign land, of them most have done so of their own free will. Again, though they have moved out of their free will, and are physically in a different country, they still remain mentally in their own homeland. When this section of people indulges in literary endeavors, their creation is classified as part of diaspora literature. This is because the scent of pain of those evicted is encompassed within the word diaspora. Together with this there also remains the yearning of the migrants to return to their homeland. But the present generation might not have the same nostalgia or the ache for their native soil. Most of the people do not emphasize the feeling of the exiled, for whatever reasons they have left their country. Their life of dream and ambitions has grown in the new land, is now their reliance. That is why the literature of the migrants who have gone from their own land to a different one, is not that of sorrow of the exiled or craving for returning to their homeland. Rather, this literature is one that has evolved from the new lifestyle in a foreign land. now due to globalization, there is no feeling of detachment regarding migrant life in the minds of the people, like before. With huge influx of data and the close proximity of the immigrants, this new life has left a comforting mark in the realm of our mind. Again, in the life of a migrant there are so much of new association in their day-to-day life that in their literature, there is always a chance that the subject of their native soil loses its priority. From the end of the last century, people have migrated from Bangladesh in such huge numbers, and faced so much of new experiences that their invigorating life has found a new perspective. It is not at all bound within the limits of the motherland. Rather, to some, the new land is their own land now. So living in their own country, how the literature that they create can be called diaspora literature? Today's lifestyle of a migrant has crossed over the outlook that is signified by the word diaspora. So the literature of the Bengali language that has though grown based on the life cycle presiding outside Bangladesh, is still one of life's understandings that have evolved from a new perception. So calling it a literature of the migrants or diaspora literature only constricts it. It is not that the migrants create literature only in their mother tongue. They can create what is liked by different readers of different languages. We are concerned with the Bengali language and Bangladesh. Yes, there are quite a few writers from Bangladesh who are now writing in English. Since Bangladesh is their mother country, all that is Bangladeshi, the various incidents of a Bengali life becomes relevant in their lifestyle. Again, the politics, economics, or the social requirements of the country where they are staying gets embedded in their consciousness. As a result of their outlook many a times other than that of their native land, the symbol of embodiment of an idea comes forth, which might not be as per our likings. In this type of literature, the pain of detachment from one's own motherland is not obvious. Rather, the ambience of the place where they are residing leaves a mark on their minds, hence in spite of the memories and reminders of Bangladesh the pain and agony of the expelled is not evident. So the English literature born from the Bangladeshi genre cannot be totally classified as diaspora literature. We conceivably can refer to this article's subsistence on a literature based on foreign life in Bengali language. One possibly cannot call this a migrant life any longer, rather one's own cultural life of the motherland has transformed in a foreign land. This is because the basis of Bengali literature is no longer confined within Bangladesh, but its geographic limits have stretched out all over the world. Today the Bengali readers residing in Bangladesh also want to see the issues faced by their extended life in foreign soil, as a part of their literature. Again, those residing abroad also pursue their dreams, establishing the cultural ambience of the place of their origin, considering it to be their own country. In the process for him, the periphery of his own country and the foreign one just muddles up into extinction. Hence life in a foreign country, instead of being one of sorrow and doom, turns into one brightened up with the dreams of self-esteem. So this literature cannot be expressed completely as diaspora literature. Therefore the writers residing abroad, instead of terming themselves as diaspora writers, should consider themselves as writers of Bengali literature based on life in a foreign soil. Residing in New York in America and mingling amidst the Bengali community whose country of origin is primarily Bangladesh, I have experienced a different feel of Bengal. I believe this door of feel of Bengal is an ever-expanding entity. It is true that this entity has not yet been able to attain its full stature, not yet been able to overcome its confusion and establish its own foundation, yet I think it does not require much effort to realize that it has already succeeded in indicating the future path. This present piece of writing is not a result of any systematic research work, hence perhaps it will not be able to show the signs of the future path so clearly as to present the cues as scientific proof before the readers. But what is the cue that will implicitly enlighten the insight of a few, the indications of the forward vision of a different entity of Bengalis or Bangladeshis? It can be strongly mentioned that the aspiration or the effort to examine its foundation is already concealed in itself. In this context, one can recall that in the last 40s the anti-British movement, which ultimately ended up in the partition of India and thereby Bengal too got divided, which started the beginning of a new middle-class society concentrating on Dhaka. The mainstream of this society is the Muslim society of Bengal. The center point of the direction of advancement of this society grew into a non-communal frame of mind that is looking at the human entity of a person more than his religious inclination. And for the new budding middle class, its main justified purpose was to attain the urban thought process. As a result, outside the Kolkata-centric Bengali literature, there was the new city-centric Bengali understanding. In its realm arose the universal awakening of culture and literature. In the consciousness of the bondsman of this universal initiation rose a modern and young sense of nationalism. From this resulted the incipient 6 clauses of Mujib. Subsequently writes, autonomy and desire for independence of Bangladesh. The freedom fight of 71 gave rise to the attainment of an independent national state Bangladesh. Before the people of Bangladesh could overcome the crisis of their existence, and the complex state of affairs that they faced soon after attaining independence, all the actions of 15 August took place. Sheikh Mujib was assassinated. Bangladesh falls into the grip of crisis all over again. In spite of that, the desire of awakening of the people of Bangladesh was not suppressed. The state of Bangladesh became one of reckoning in the world stage. The gradual entry of the people of Bangladesh in the labor market, and consistently becoming the major contributor in the economy, helped the Bangladeshis gain international recognition in the labor market. But we don't keep in mind that those huge numbers who remain spread out in foreign lands, not only contributes in the economics, but also affects a huge cultural significance. Hence we fail to examine how our society transforms due to the influence of these indications. Where the place of literature is degrading from the role of a controller to that of a trivial one in the nascent middle-class society, due to the pressure of world economics, literature has come under several business strictures that too our literature community does not realize. In the last few years, it has become quite clear that the change in the situation has started. In many spheres, the directions have started becoming more conscious. As if the national sentiment of the people of Bangladesh has started to expand. Previously it was believed that those who were Bengalis by birth would stay in Bangladesh. He can go to foreign land if there is a need, and in most of those staying abroad, there was a belief that in the later stage of their life, they would return to their mother country. If he became a citizen of another country and became a part of their culture, then no Bengali feeling or signs of a Bengali would be expected of them. They would be treated as exceptions. But in the present day, this kind of thinking is waning. This is because outside Bangladesh there is another Bangladeshi identity that is growing, which perhaps cannot hold together the identity of a Bengali like those residing in Bangladesh due to the obvious reality. Their way of life is transforming due to their stay in another cultural setting. But in spite of all this, a large section still keeps their Bangladeshi identity alive by coming to some kind of compromise. Though they are not physically coming back to Bangladesh, or even with reduced practice of speaking in that language, they are not letting their Bangladeshi spirit to go extinct. Their soul has come to terms that they would not go back to Bangladesh to live permanently, but living in a different country, different culture, in an atmosphere of a different language, they would develop their Bengali spirit in a new reality in a new way. This kind of an aspiration they have in their subconscious minds. In these non-resident Bengalis or Bangladeshis there is gradually an augmentation of a new sense of being a Bengali. In the present commentary they are being marked as the representatives of this different sense of being a Bengali. People of this different sense of being a Bengali category may write in a different language other than Bengali, sing in a different language, choreograph a different dance, but in all of them the sense of being a Bengali will shine bright. Again, due to the depth of their cultural tradition, some of them in spite of being a non-resident would write in Bengali, compose Bengali songs, create Bengali drama and create a world-class film industry. Some may ask, why would one who is residing in a different country, grown up in a different culture, got educated in a wider reach return to one with a much smaller span? In answer, it can be said that Bangladesh now is a country of ample opportunities. Its massive population is its major wealth. The speed at which Bangladesh is developing would lead to expansion of much research in Bengali language. Then different sense of being a Bengali people will also get importance. The right words might seem a bit far-fetched to some, but if they can be reminded of the pre-1947 Dhaka-centric mainstream culture of Bangladesh, then they can experience the future reality of this newly evolved sense of Bengal. Let us dwell on this topic a bit. In the 50s of the last century, there was no flow of literature and culture in Dhaka. Dhaka was barely a Mofasshole town. Gradually it developed. Publication of literary papers started. With the universal signs of awakening, Dhaka became vivid. It can be said with conviction that post-47, Though the cultural scene of Dhaka lags behind that of Kolkata, a distinct tradition is developing. It can also be said that now the center of Bengali new in culture is definitely Dhaka. Question may arise that patriotism of those residing out of Bangladesh will shift. Why will they think of Bangladesh? The answer to this is that the new Bengali new is also a hunger accomplished from the freedom revolution. The patriotism for Bangladesh in the age of future non-residents will not be allowed to be snatched away by the new Bengali wisdom that is incipient in the present non-residents, even if they live as citizens of a foreign country. The expansion of this new Bengali wisdom is evident in the Bangladeshi society in the United States. The cultivation of this new Bengali sense will leave a mark once it starts to play an intense role as a supportive power. Many more associations will then start to adhere to the national think pot. Consequently, this new Bengali new will get more powerful. The significance of this Bengali new is a bit larger and remains veiled under Bangalitwa. Its subsistence lies in the people of Bengal who reside in foreign countries. A large number of people from Bangladesh now stay permanently in foreign soil. They just don't stay like they have to, but stay with the aspiration for a brighter and prosperous future. They are the ones who truly bear this name. These words stand for the disposition of only those whose dreams are no longer limited within Bangladesh. Most of them even do not have any plans or thoughts of ever going back to Bangladesh and settling there. Children of the non-resident Bangladeshis are born as citizens of that country itself. It is quite natural that they would be deprived of much of the Bengali culture. But then they really cannot ignore the Bengali sense or wisdom. Even if they never return to Bangladesh, they still have to keep in touch with the Bengali culture. Even while residing in a foreign country, they have to carry on with them the memories of the various parts of Bangladesh. If they don't cultivate the Bengali language, even if they don't know how to read and write the language, their children will have to bear the legacy of Bengal's cultural mindset. Carrying this legacy of memories of Bengali culture and mingling with the culture of a different country is what I call living with a different feel of Bengal. I use these words to portray their feelings, because they have stretched their feel for Bengal by becoming detached from the Bangladeshi feel for Bengal. Their feeling for life is ever expanding after mixing with the associations of the origin of Bangalitwa. The contemporary Bengali culture, after mixing with that of the place where they are staying permanently, achieves a different level. If we look back at the history of Bangladesh, then we can say that the most important event for her people is their attaining independence. Because it is from their own united thirst for life that they attain an independent state named Bangladesh. So, what are the possibilities of attaining what, with the thirst for a different Bengali new? Most don't think that people from Bangladesh are indomitable in their craving for prosperity. This is their thirst of life. Most of us strongly aspire to enter the mainstream of American life. If they themselves cannot do it, then they fervently hope that their children would do so. I have also seen many who have made for themselves a Bangladesh out here in America. Bengali medium schools are coming up here and there in the United States. Several schools of Bengali dance, songs and cultural centers are in the offing. They have also started adopting the diversity of Bengali songs. The Bengali feel originating from this will also influence the world of music here. Not only that, if they are successful here in the mainstream, then in Bangladesh too they will be much admired. When this happens repeatedly, then the Bangladeshi society, which is full of vitality, will strengthen its yearning to progress. With the increasing participation of the new generation in observing the national days of Bangladesh, is flowing the inheritance of the Bengali new. These programs have increased so much now that one has to prioritize the programs according to which one wants to attend more. At one time there were not many programs during the winter, but now even winter is not spared. Many a times looking at all of them together one can't figure out whether they are in Bangladesh or America. Even severe snowfall cannot deter people from organizing the Pita Utshab. Compared to those who have been living here for long, now people with much lesser monetary wealth are organizing programs one after another. This indomitable spirit is their thirst of life. The first generation people built their organization based on their places of origin in Bangladesh. Though now the job of these organizations is limited to the practice of uniting the people, soon it will enter the next stage. In cultural practices now, when interest hurts the poor, a time will come when accumulated intellect, labor and investment of money will make such practices bright with joyful. This dream is the thirst for life for the Bengal wisdom. Through the gradual increased participation of the new generation in these programs, the feel of Bengal gets added, along with their dream of establishing themselves in the mainstream. Again, from them some grow up to become a star of Bengal. Therefore, the undercurrents of the culture of Bengal flows together with their dream of self-establishment. We can call this the thirst of life of the different new of Bengal. With each passing day this thirst of life increases. That is why we see how big the celebration of 21st February are getting when the martyrs' sculptures are placed in front of the United Nations. There is no dearth of enthusiasm in celebrating the Independence Day, Bijay Dibosh and the Tuyids. In fact, even in the cool weather of April in America, the people of Bangladesh can visualize the palpitating heat of the summer of Baishak. The intensity of the thirst of life of the Bangladeshi society is obvious to anybody. In the whole of America, the awakening of this thirst of life has just started. The whole road lies ahead. Translated from the original in Bengali by Purnaz Nag.